We've got Fred Steward of the Kansas Antique Racers. And, man, this sounds like a pretty neat group. I was just down there. We were talking with Shane Carson, and he was saying you got a pretty neat old modified you run in this group.
Yeah, I've got a car I've had for 24 years, number 97 yellow car. But the Kansas Antique Racers was started back about 30 years ago by Tom Barkley, Roger Burnett, and 2 or 3 other guys that have passed away. But we're a club. We have about 160 prospective members. I think we have about 80 or 90 that are paid this year. And we have probably 60 cars that work and race with us, anywhere from midgets, sprint cars, super modifieds, a lot of super modifieds. But we race all over Kansas, Wichita, Dodge City, Waukene, Norton, Belleville. It's a big race. We have a lot of fun, and it's just about having fun. And we don't get real aggressive. We race a little bit, but we mostly just kind of a spectator's race.
Give everybody a look at these old cars, how they were kind of in their prime.
Yeah, we have a lot of nice looking cars, and some of them are kind of over restored, but we just have a lot of fun.
I was going to say there's a late model bunch, I think, or not a late model bunch, but it's a Kansas Racers deal like this. But I think they run on late model chassis, if I remember right, because the guy that's doing the auction back here, I can't remember his name, but I think he's involved in it, and I think he wins about 3/4 of them. But anyway, this sounds like a pretty neat deal. Any idea you can give me as far as maybe at least starting out schedule for 2016, where you might be?
I think our first show will actually be up at Newton, Kansas, at the Kansas Truck Show. It's just more of a car show than it is a race. But then we'll have about 12 to 16 shows scheduled, and we all participate. We race with the Colorado Vintage Oval Racers out of Denver. We race with the Mississippi River Valley bunch out of we've been up to Knoxville several times. So we race with the other clubs around too.
Really sounds like a fun deal, and something that somebody who's been around racing or enjoys it can really get out there and get involved and have a good time. And it sounds like you guys, like to say, you race, but it's a kind of a controlled race.
Yeah, we're kind of like all-star wrestlers. Sometimes we know who's going to win before we start, but the guy that's going to win, he doesn't know it yet. If it's usually a hometown guy or something.
Yeah.
But we just have a lot of fun racing.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing you guys out there somewhere, and hopefully we'll cross paths down the road there someplace. But, Fred, I appreciate you coming over here and talking with us on the Grassroots Racing Show today.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, Delbert Smith, I don't know whether to address you, even though we want to talk about your racing, or whether you're a product representative or how we go at this, but you're kind of wearing 2 hats today.
Do a little of both. Yep, that's right. Always trying to push our products, and racing's pretty much what I've been living for here lately.
Are you retired from your regular job yet? Or
I actually work for BSB, so I've worked there 10 years now, and I don't think I'll ever retire.
I was going to say that might be one of them jobs that they might bury a shock with you or something.
Yeah, you never know.
But anyway, Delbert, how did your racing season go this year? I mean, man, you've been racing here around in Kansas. Plus, I guess that's really a third topic that you would kind of fall under here is this Kansas Racers reunion that they're having. And man, how many years have you been racing?
I'm afraid to even say. I couldn't even tell you. You'd have to ask my kid. It's been so long I forgot. I know it's got to be close to 40 now.
Yeah. 4 decades, man. That's a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of sweat and tears.
A lot of changes, It's seems like it's been the rules just keep evolving, the cars keep changing, but it's been real interesting, been fun to be a part of.
Plus that shock package deal, man, I hear so much about shocks anymore too, talking about BSB. It just plays such an important part of the on-track performance.
Sure, and I mean, I've been lucky to be a part of it. When Jay and my son Dan, they decided that they wanted to start doing shocks, I was a little skeptical, but I'm glad they did, and they pretty much keep me up to speed on what's going on. That's just part of the business I've not really got into. Jay handles most of the shock stuff, so and I try to do the rest, and it's been real good. But shocks are like computers. It seems like every day there's a new piston or something new, and and you got to stay on top of it, and you know Jay does. That's one thing I will say. He works at it as hard as anybody I've seen. You know, staying up to speed on what's going on.
And say the technology just changes so much anymore. It seems like it seems like every 2-3 months, 6 months, there's something different. And if you're not on top of it, then you're behind.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be machining on pistons, and before we're done, he's already thought of something that he might want to change the next time we run them. So it just seems like it's just, like I said, it evolves about like computers. You just got to keep working at it.
Yeah. Talking about your racing season this year, how many chances did you get out and race, and how did you do?
We run probably 15 shows. We had a lot of rainouts, had 9 rainouts in a row, and got in a wreck at the first of the year and tore some stuff up. It took a while for us to get our program back in line, but there at the end, things got good. Then had back surgery a couple weeks ago, so I'm thinking next year I'm going to have a way better year, I hope.
I was going to say, it's a lot more fun to drive with no pain, I imagine.
Yeah, it got to the point where it got tough to sleep, so I thought I better get something done.
Yeah, oh, you sound like me. Toward the end of the racing season, just as a videographer, I'm going to the chiropractor because I'm standing so much, I guess, but I can't imagine what it's got to be like in the race car.
Yeah,
but
it got tough, and it got, and if you can't get some good rest, you got to do something.
Again in 16, now are you going to stick with the crate late model deal? I mean, is that Naismith you're running with or NCRA?
Yeah, NCRA is their. I was just talking to their tech guy, and they're going to be crate only. So it's good for me. I'm happy to see it. I think that's the future for late model racing in our area, and it's affordable, and a lot of the modified guys have some crate stuff, so I think we'll see more and more, and I think it's going to build. It's going to be a good deal.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I went down to East Bay last February. Of course, they have a big crate late model race down there, and truthfully, I thought it was as fun to watch as it was watching the Lucas Oil late models. I mean, maybe it's just me, and I appreciate the small guys a little bit more. But, man, it was competitive. I think they had 2 or 3 lead changes. It was a good race to watch.
Well, and I think, that's the thing. With him going all crates, you'll see, I think it'll be better racing because all the motors are sealed. So everybody's in that 400 horsepower range, and the rest is all driver and chassis. And I think you see a lot closer racing when everybody's got the same.
Don't get strung out either. That's one of the other things I think I've kind of seen with the big boys. You got one guy with a lot of horsepower, and he figures it out. And nobody else is running with him.
Yeah, and I mean the crate deal, it's, like I said, everybody's got the same thing to work with, and it just makes you get on your chassis and get on your tires and get on your driver.
Get up on the wheel.
That's right.
Delbert, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I appreciate you coming by and talking with us here on the Grassroots Racing Show. Man, let's have some fun in 2016.
We're going to. Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Thanks.
Gary Lee Meyer, man, I think there's probably a lot of people around this country that know that name, and of course you're kind of a homegrown product right here and living in Dodge City now. What's being away from racing like, Gary?
Well, I mean, trust me, I miss it a lot, but it was time for me to get out and spend time with my wife and doing things, and now we ride motorcycles and just play golf and just goof around kind of.
Well, that sounds like that could be exciting. I did a little motorcycle riding myself, and that can be a lot of fun and sometimes pretty challenging too.
Yeah, it is challenging. We go to a lot of rallies and just, but it's been a great time. Trust me, I miss the racing. My best friends are in racing, and I miss all the people out there, and I miss the competition. But, and we've been promoting softball tournaments over the summer back in Dodge City, so that takes a lot of our time too.
Yeah. I think I contacted you, it seems like about 30 or 45 minutes ago, and I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying it seemed like you'd make about, 5 or 6 steps, and somebody'd stop you and you'd shake hands, you'd talk for a little while, you'd walk a little further. Man, it's got to be a good feeling to know that, a lot of people remember.
Well, you do. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of these people in a long time, because I don't go to very many races, and, and it's good to see these people, a lot of fans that supported me, and, a lot of people I raced against. So it's been a great time.
Looking back on your career, is there a win or something that you recall that maybe was your favorite? Might not have been the biggest one, but one that you really look back and think, man, that was neat.
Well, I'd have to say the one that sticks on my mind most is 1989 when my boy was born. At the Wichita National in Hutchinson, we won that night, and he was born the same night.
Really? Oh my gosh! Was the wife in town, or was she not there?
No, she was at the hospital, and so like I said, I had my boy at 3 o'clock, jumped in the car and drove to Hutchinson, raced that night, went back the following night.
Oh my gosh, man, that sounds like it would have been really exciting. I imagine that whole time you were in the car, though, it was kind of hard to concentrate on one thing, wasn't it?
Well, after the baby was here, it was a lot better. I knew I better stay around and have this baby with her before I take off going racing.
Run NCRA for a number of years. I think won several points championships with them. That's got to be pretty gratifying because, that's no slouch group there either.
No, I mean, we won quite a few championships, and we won a lot of features. But, actually, the C. Rahal and stuff, I mean, they're a great friend of ours and stuff like that. And everyone that we raced with, it was fun, and I do miss, I miss it all. And, and ASCS is a good group. I had a lot of fun with them, and you talk about racing, probably me winning Knoxville 360 Nationals twice was very important to me.
Yeah. I was going to say, very prestigious group again to be running with, and man, you certainly showed them what a Kansas driver can do up there. Where'd you cut your teeth at, by the way, Gary, to start in this sprint car deal?
Well, I started in racing motorcycles, then I went to mini sprints for a little bit. Then I started racing super modified in '82 back in Dodge. Actually, Wichita was the first race I ever raced in, Wichita. And so that's when it started. And then in '87, we went to sprint cars.
Man, coming up through that super modified ranks, that was a pretty neat deal. I was around to see quite a few of those. Was it a big step to go from the modifieds to the sprint cars? Actually,
the sprint cars fit me better. It was like riding a motorcycle, because you run more on the back wheels than you did on the, four wheels. So it was it fit me better.
Yeah. You ever do any drag racing on them bikes?
Nope. Just run motocross and supercross, and I'd run a little bit of flat track once in a while.
Yeah. Gary, I can't tell you how much fun it is to get to see you here today. I knew I was coming down here for kind of a Kansas old-timers racer reunion, but I had no idea, who would be here. But, man, I've seen you run quite a few races. We crossed paths a few times. I think we might have done some in-car stuff together once or twice. But it's a real pleasure to see you. And, man, admired your racing and driving for a number of years. And, man, have fun in the retirement and enjoy the motorcycle ride.
Well, thank you, and I'd like to thank you for what you've done. Like you said, we have had some stuff together in the car camera and stuff like that, but you know what? It's people like you that make the sport grow.
Well, thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to 2016. Maybe, you'll be out riding the motorcycle, but I'll be out there on the dirt track.
Yep, you know what? It's all about having fun, and that's what it's about.
Yeah. I was going to say, sooner or later it has to come to an end. That's the way it goes. But anyway, Gary, thanks a lot for coming over here and talking to us on the Grassroots Racing Show.
Thank you very much.
We got Jerry Stone here, and Jerry, you started your racing here at 81 Speedway, but man, it sounds like you pretty well got around the country. But tell us just a little bit first about getting started here at 81 Speedway and what you were racing.
Well, we was running super modifieds then. They called them. Actually, they just were modifieds kind of then, and they were 100-inch wheelbase cars, and that was in the 60s. And then I run some USAC midgets and did a lot of things. Run the World Outlaw and lived in Pennsylvania a few years.
Run with the posse or whatever they call it over.
Lived there with the posse. Run with the posse for 4 years. So, and. Pretty much raced everywhere at one time or another, and anything where they had a dirt track. Yeah. So
I was going to say you liked them open wheels, but was that just a preference of choice that you liked that, just didn't like the fenders, or what was the deal with the open wheels?
Yeah, I didn't want to race taxi cabs, and they used to call ours tractors, and we call them taxi cabs. But anyway, no, I liked open wheel cars. I basically started as a little kid in go-karts. And then moved up to dirt.
Yeah. I have to ask you, did you race with one of our show's hosts, Roger Thompson? I know he ran down there at Hutchinson. I'm sure you got to run down Hutchinson some.
Yeah, I remember when Roger run. I've been back in the 70s. I think he was driving Shipper's car, I believe. And, yeah, I was racing then.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask you because, I hear all Roger's stories. I got to ask you now, was he that competitive? I mean, was he in the middle of it up front, or how did Roger do?
Well, I think that they run well. Shipper had good equipment, and they did run well. Yeah, they run well.
Yeah. So he was up there in the front and being competitive with the rest of the guys. But what are you up to now? Are you retired, or you were saying you live down around Tulsa now?
Yeah, I moved to Tulsa in '80. Racing down there was better money back then, and I got an opportunity to drive a car down there. And now I'm not doing a whole lot. I'm not really retired, but I'm not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. Just that you get out to the races, though, and watch a few, though, still, don't you? I know some of these guys. I just talked to Gary Lee Meyer, and he said doesn't even go anymore. He rides motorcycles.
Honestly, I just go to races to do just what I come here for, to visit with people I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't go to, other than the Chili Bowl is a good race to watch.
Well,
I go to a few races that I enjoy watching, but mostly I just go to visit.
Yeah. I have to ask you, over your career, do you have a favorite win?
Probably several. We won an outlaw race, world outlaw race in Tulsa in '92, and then I won a really good race in Seattle, Washington, in a USAC midget race at Seattle in the '70s, and won the Hutchison Nationals in '76.
Oh wow!
So them were good days. Well, but I had a lot of good days, but those were special.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes there's just something that means just a little bit more to us, because sometimes what even going on in our life other than the racing, but still they're important to us and we really appreciate them. But Jerry, it's been a pleasure talking to you, buddy. I hope you've been having fun here today to see some guys you knew from the past.
Yeah, we did some visiting. I've seen some people that I hadn't seen in quite a few years, and like I said, that's why I come. And then don't do much, that's what we come for.
Once again, Jerry Stone lives in Tulsa now, but raced all over the country, but started right here at 81 Speedway. Jerry, thanks for talking with us here on the Grassroots Racing Show.
All right, thank you.
C. Rahal, man, we're here for the Kansas Racers reunion. I'd have to think that's got to be a name that, if they had a Hall of Fame, it would probably be in there, but a long time there at 81 Speedway.
Well, it really has been. It's been a good life to me. I've met a tremendous amount of good people out of it, and, we've all had good times and bad, but through it all, it's been pretty special to me.
Yeah. Like I say, if they have the Hall of Fame, well, I'm sure you and your dad both will be in there. But we're kind of talking about the old-time stuff. Talk a little bit about 81 Speedway. I think I got down there, if I remember right, twice this year for a couple of races. And, man, I love going down there. It seems like the racing's always close. The track's prepared. The crew is on top of stuff, probably two of the best track announcers that are around. And, man, it's just a fun time to come down to 81.
Well, I appreciate all them nice things you said, and that's been part of why I've hung on as long as I have. I've always had good help, and people ask me, where do you get them good announcers? Where do you find an announcer? They've always found me, so I've been very fortunate to have good people. I tell people I can put 15 to 20 years at every position at that racetrack, and it's not too many racetracks can do that.
One of the things I get on you guys' website, kind of check the schedule and stuff, and you kind of got a personal profile of just about everybody that works at the track, and I think that's kind of neat. Like you say, they've been around long enough, you know something about them, so it's easy to do, but they're all talented people, and like I say, a fun time to go see a race down there. For 16 coming up. In fact, I just saw Jeremy Campbell outside, and he was telling me about a big sprint car race you're going to have down there in March or April.
March, yeah, it'll be the last weekend of March. Actually, it's going to be the 5th year that we've been doing this, and this year going to be pretty special. We're going to try a 10,000 to win, so it's got a lot of the racers excited. Somebody said something about how many cars you're going to have, and I said, really? That's the third thing that I'm concerned about. Number one, concerned about the weather. Then
first.
The grandstand. I'm sure I'll have enough cars that it'll take care of it. So we're looking forward to kicking off the year.
I think that early in the year in a sprint car race, man, you're going to have cars from all over. I think you're going to have fans coming in there, like you say, if the weather's decent enough to get in there and do that. But, hey, put me on the list. Go ahead and put me on the media list. I'll be there, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate it. And like I said, for a few years ago, nobody wanted to do an early race. They all wanted to do them at the end of the year. Now it kind of seemed like it's gone back the other way. People are excited about getting out and doing stuff early. So we're excited about it. And like I said, I think it'll be good. And we talked about the weather, but we fight weather in July and August. It's still Kansas, and we're just going to hope for the best.
I just did my last race, I think 2 weeks ago down in Springfield for that Turkey Bowl deal. And, of course, they put that off 3 weeks, but I think they were saying it was the first race to be held in the state of Missouri in December. So, but they got it in, and the weather was really good. It was like 55, 56. But what else you got coming up at 81 this summer? I know you guys are pretty much the home track for NCRA, and have any other big shows coming up?
Basically, we're going to do like we did last year. We got the opportunity to bring the midgets back again this year. Going to bring back the non-winged sprint cars out of Arizona. They're coming back, and so we're going to do some late model stuff. And so we're going to have a variety of programs.
I love that Southwest Series. I get a chance. I have a grandson who lives in Phoenix, so I get to get down there usually twice a year, and I get to go out to Canyon or Arizona Speedway, one of the two, and see them. Great series. Boy, them 360 sprints, them guys go.
Yeah, it really was. For several years, CRA come out of California with Leland McSpadden and all them guys, and then they kind of quit coming this way. So when the opportunity came to bring them back, it's very important to me.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Hall of Famer, C. Rahal. Man, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Good to see you again, and looking forward to being out to 81 this summer. Thanks for coming over and talking to us here on the Grassroots Racing Show.
Well, thank you very much, and maybe just call me Survivor. I tell people a lot of it's changed, a lot of it hasn't. You change the names and the numbers, and you're pretty close,
Yeah.
So the problems, but every business is having problems, so we're going to hang in there, and I appreciate all the support and look forward to seeing you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Steve.
All right, thanks.